You won't believe what's been happening behind the scenes between Eminem and Dr. Dre all these years. Fans think they know the story: chart-topping hits, sold-out shows, and legendary collaborations, but the truth is far more shocking than anyone imagined. Sources close to the duo are claiming that behind the smiles and awards, tensions were boiling, emotions ran high, and the bond that once seemed unbreakable was being quietly tested. Heated arguments reportedly broke out over creative decisions, money, and even personal pride, leaving both men frustrated and the people around them worried. Friends, family, and longtime collaborators say they've witnessed moments where words were exchanged that could have ended decades of partnership. Fans are shocked, insiders are talking, and the family was left divided as loyalty was questioned and alliances shifted. Some say Dre felt disrespected, while Eminem struggled with feeling misunderstood, creating a mix of resentment and uncertainty that no one saw coming. Even the studio, once a place of magic, became a battleground for emotions, accusations, and rivalries. Today, we're pulling back the curtain and diving deep into what really happened between Eminem and Dr. Dre, uncovering secrets, shocking twists, and the drama that the world was never supposed to see. The story of Eminem and Dr. Dre has always been painted as a perfect mentor-protege tale. Dre discovers a raw talent in a young Marshall Mathers, nurtures him, and together they dominate the rap game. But sources close to the studio are now revealing that the story fans think they know is only half the truth. Behind the cameras, behind the albums, emotions ran high, tempers flared, and relationships were tested in ways no one expected. The tension, insiders say, started subtly. Dre, who had always been known for his patience and calm demeanor, began to feel frustrated. The claim is that he felt Eminem was becoming too independent, too confident, and that the kid he discovered was starting to challenge his authority, not publicly, but in private studio sessions, in conversations that lasted hours, often escalating into arguments that nobody else could break up. One source close to the label said Dre was calm on the surface, but every beat, every lyric, every production choice started to feel like a test. He wasn't used to being challenged by someone he put on a pedestal. Meanwhile, Eminem reportedly felt the weight of expectations crushing him. The world saw a confident, fast-talking, battle-ready rapper. But in private, insiders say he struggled with pressure and frustration. He loved Dre, but sometimes he felt like Dre didn't really hear him. One former collaborator revealed they were both geniuses, but geniuses clash. The kind of tension between them, fans would never believe it. Conversations that once sparked creative magic began to spiral. Minor disagreements over lyrics or beats reportedly turned into hours-long debates, with both men refusing to back down. Emotions ran high, and for the first time, people close to the duo started worrying about the impact on their friendship. Family members and close friends were drawn into the drama. Some sources suggest that Eminem's inner circle began questioning Dre's intentions. Were his decisions purely about the music? Or was there a subtle control, a way to keep Eminem in check? One longtime associate reportedly said Marshall started to feel like Dre was holding him back in ways he couldn't articulate. It was like he had to prove himself over and over, even though he had already done more than most rappers dream of. On Dre's side, close friends claimed that he felt unappreciated, as though years of mentorship were being overshadowed by Eminem's growing independence and ego. The emotional conflict wasn't just professional, it became personal, corroding deep into both men's pride. The first explosive incident reportedly happened during a late-night studio session in Los Angeles. According to sources, Eminem was pushing for a new sound, something more experimental, while Dre wanted to stick to the tried-and-true style that had made them both legends. The disagreement escalated. Voices got loud, tempers flared, and objects were nearly thrown. A witness claimed it was intense. Eminem was shouting, Dre was calm but cutting, and everyone in the room could feel the tension like electricity. It was like watching two storms collide. Friends and family were later told that neither of them wanted to admit defeat. It wasn't about the music anymore. Another source explained, "It became about respect, pride, and history. Both of them knew that if one backed down, it could change everything." Insiders reveal that this fight had ripple effects beyond the studio. Collaborators who had worked with the duo for years reportedly started taking sides, trying to mediate but often being caught in the crossfire. Some felt loyal to Dre, believing he had built the empire and deserved ultimate control, while others sided with Eminem, arguing that his talent and vision were being stifled. Friends and family were left divided. There are even claims that certain unreleased tracks were locked away during this period not because of creative reasons, but because tensions were so high that neither Eminem nor Dre could agree on whether the music should be released. Fans are shocked to learn that some of the greatest tracks of the early 2000s may have been buried not for lack of quality, but because of private battles that the world would never see. The tension wasn't limited to creative decisions. Money, contracts, and public image also became points of contention. Dre, who had always been careful with his business, reportedly felt that some financial moves by Eminem's team were crossing boundaries. Eminem, on the other hand, felt suffocated, as if he had to justify his career moves to someone who had always been the gatekeeper. They were navigating a relationship where love, respect, and business all collided. An insider said, "And when that happens, it's messy. Really messy." The sources indicate that these conflicts sometimes spilled into the public eye. Not overtly, but in subtle ways. Cryptic social media posts, lyrics that felt pointed, public appearances that seemed strained. Fans noticed, of course, but the full story remained hidden. Like a storm brewing behind closed doors, one of the most dramatic moments, insiders say, involved an argument that allegedly lasted 6 hours straight. Dre reportedly confronted Eminem about taking too much creative control and not valuing the guidance that had made him a superstar. Eminem, according to sources, snapped back with words that left everyone in the room stunned. Marshall told Dre that he appreciated him, but that he had to grow, that he couldn't be confined forever, a witness claimed. The argument escalated to a point where friends feared a physical altercation. Emotions ran high, and some people reportedly left the studio early, unable to watch what was unfolding. The intensity of this confrontation reportedly left both men shaken, questioning the future of their partnership. Despite all of this, there were moments of reconciliation, temporary, fragile, but real. Sources say that on multiple occasions, Eminem and Dre would step back, reflect, and attempt to reconnect. Dre would offer advice in a calm, almost fatherly tone, and Eminem would apologize for letting emotions take over. But the underlying tension never fully disappeared. Family members reportedly described it as a love-hate dynamic, intense, complicated, and unpredictable. The story of their relationship, insiders argue, is not just about music, but about pride, loyalty, and the pressure of living up to legendary status. Every beat, every verse, every collaboration carried weight far beyond what the public realized. Some say the drama even influenced the sound of Eminem's albums. Sources hint that certain lyrics were aimed not at fans or critics, but at Dre himself. Subtle jabs, indirect confrontations, a way to express frustration without breaking the public image. Friends and insiders reportedly decoded lines that suggested tension over creative control, financial decisions, and even personal respect. It was like a secret dialogue happening through music, something fans would never understand unless they were in the room. Dre, meanwhile, allegedly used production choices to respond, selecting beats, altering hooks, and shaping songs in ways that insiders say were messages only Eminem could understand. The studio, once a place of magic, had become a battlefield where every choice carried emotional weight. And then, according to sources, came a shocking twist that no one saw coming. A mutual friend, someone trusted by both, allegedly tried to mediate and ended up in the middle of a heated confrontation. The mediator reportedly suggested that they take a break from working together, a cooling-off period to let emotions settle. Dre and Eminem, however, were both stubborn, both unwilling to step back completely. One insider described the scene as surreal. It was like watching two kings argue over the throne of hip-hop. Neither would yield, neither would compromise fully, but both knew that the world was watching. The tension was palpable, and it changed everything. Friends and family reportedly left divided, unsure how to support either side without worsening the conflict. Despite all of this drama, the partnership continued. Collaborations still happened, albums were still released, and fans continued to cheer, unaware of the emotional turmoil happening behind the scenes. Sources claim that both men learned to navigate the tension, to use it as fuel rather than letting it destroy the relationship entirely. But insiders say that some scars remained in spoken words. Lingering pride and moments of frustration that could flare up at any time. Friends describe it as a complex, ever-shifting dynamic that defined their careers as much as any record or award. The story of Eminem and Dr. Dre, insiders insist, is a reminder that even the greatest partnerships are not immune to human emotion. Loyalty, respect, pride, and ambition collide in ways that are rarely seen by the public. While fans see hits, awards, and sold-out tours, the reality behind the scenes is far more dramatic, filled with arguments, reconciliations, and emotional roller coasters that shaped both men as artists and as people. And as shocking as it may sound, insiders claim that what happened in those private moments will continue to influence hip-hop for years to come. After that explosive confrontation in the studio, insiders say things between Eminem and Dr. Dre were never quite the same. The trust that had once seemed unshakable now felt fragile, like a thin thread barely holding two titans together. Friends and family noticed it immediately. Longtime collaborators said that even casual conversations had an edge. Jokes that used to land now carried subtle tension. Compliments were met with wary glances, and every decision seemed to be under scrutiny. It was like walking into a minefield. One producer claimed, "You didn't know what would set off an argument." Even small disagreements could blow up into something much bigger. Fans had no idea, of course. To the public, everything looked normal. Eminem dropping tracks, Dre producing hits, awards being collected. But insiders were quietly talking about late-night calls, text messages, and private meetings that were less about music and more about settling emotional scores. One source revealed that Dre began questioning some of Eminem's closest decisions, everything from song themes to collaborations with other artists. Dre is a perfectionist, the insider explained. He has always been about legacy. But when Eminem started branching out, working with younger artists, experimenting with different sounds, Dre felt like he was losing control. Not control in a bad way, but the kind that comes from being a mentor and wanting to protect the vision he helped create. Eminem, on the other hand, reportedly felt suffocated. He loved Dre like family, but he also needed space to grow, to express himself, to explore directions Dre might not fully understand. Friends said that this created a silent tension, war of pride that no one could openly resolve. Then came an unexpected twist, a leak. Not a music leak, but a rumor that hit social media like wildfire. Sources claim that a mysterious insider started posting cryptic messages suggesting that Eminem and Dre were on the verge of splitting professionally. Fans went wild. The hashtags trended. Every mention of the two in the press was dissected for hidden meaning. Some said the leaks were planted by someone close to Dre. Others suggested it was a ploy by Eminem's team to test public reaction. Either way, emotions ran high. Friends, family, and collaborators were suddenly caught in a storm, unsure what to believe. Even people in the studio were walking on eggshells, afraid that any small comment could be misinterpreted or go viral. One particularly intense incident reportedly occurred during a recording session for what would become one of Eminem's most iconic tracks. Dre was in the booth giving feedback when Eminem stopped him mid-session. "I respect what you're saying, but this is my voice, my story," Eminem allegedly shouted. Dre.com on the surface, but visibly frustrated, responded Marshall, "I built the foundation for you. Don't forget that." Witnesses describe a charged silence after that exchange, with tension so thick it could be cut with a knife. Sources say the argument didn't end. Their words continued to fly backstage, in the studio parking lot, and even on private calls. Family members reportedly tried to mediate, but both men were too proud to back down. It was like watching a storm rage in slow motion. One insider said, "They both loved each other, but neither could admit it at that moment." The emotional roller coaster reportedly spilled over into personal lives as well. Sources claim that Eminem's inner circle began noticing subtle changes, mood swings, moments of withdrawal, and late-night phone calls with Dre that sounded more like confrontations than friendly discussions. On Dre's side, friends said he was pacing more, growing increasingly critical of minor studio choices and spending long hours alone analyzing lyrics and beats. Even casual encounters in public were said to be fraught with unspoken tension, nodded greetings, half smiles, and moments where the media captured what looked like awkward exchanges. Fans, of course, speculated endlessly, but nobody had the full picture. Then came what insiders call the family fallout. Reports claim that Dre's relatives were brought into arguments over loyalty and respect. Eminem's close friends were reportedly asked for opinions, leading to heated discussions about whose side to take. Some sources even suggest that certain family members were forced to pick favorites, creating a rift that extended beyond the studio. "It was messy," a source said. "Not just professional, but deeply personal. Pride was wounded. Emotions ran high. And suddenly, music wasn't just music anymore, was a battlefield for respect and legacy." But just when it seemed like the relationship might break entirely, an unexpected gesture brought a moment of calm. Sources claim that Dre, during a rare, quiet evening, sent Eminem a message expressing regret for letting pride get in the way. Eminem, reportedly moved, responded with words, acknowledging his own mistakes and emphasizing the bond they shared. Friends who were present at the time described it as a fragile reconciliation, emotions still raw, but a recognition that their connection was bigger than any argument. For a brief moment, it seemed like peace might finally return. Yet the drama was far from over. Sources claim that new collaborators in the studio were caught in the middle of subtle power plays. Dre would allegedly suggest changes that Eminem had not asked for, leading to quiet but palpable resentment. Eminem, in turn, was accused of bypassing Dre in decision-making, even on tracks Dre had produced. Friends and insiders say that both men were caught in a cycle, pushing, resisting, compromising, then pushing again. The emotional stakes were sky high. Family and longtime collaborators were left exhausted, unsure how to navigate the complex dynamics. Adding fuel to the fire, social media reactions reportedly intensified the tension. Cryptic posts, interpreted messages, and fan speculation created an external pressure that neither man could ignore. Sources say Dre felt under attack for any perceived criticism, while Eminem felt scrutinized for every move. Every award show appearance, interview, and performance was dissected, increasing the pressure and amplifying underlying issues. Friends described it as like walking a tightrope over a volcano, with emotions ready to erupt at any moment. At one point, the insider claims that the duo almost walked away from a major collaboration entirely. The reason? A disagreement over creative direction that escalated into a full-blown argument. Witnesses report that emotions ran so high that studio staff were sent home early, fearing that tempers would flare further. Friends and family tried to mediate, but both men reportedly insisted on standing their ground. Neither wanted to compromise fully, but both knew the stakes, a source said. It wasn't just about music, it was about respect, pride, and history. Yet, as always, music brought them back together. Sources claim that late-night studio sessions, sometimes after hours of arguing, produced some of the most iconic, emotionally charged music of Eminem's career. Dre's influence, combined with Eminem's raw emotion, reportedly created a spark that neither could achieve alone. Friends said that these sessions, while chaotic, were also deeply bonding, allowing both men to vent frustrations, reconcile differences, and create legendary tracks that fans would never fully understand were born from tension. And while some moments of peace were fleeting, insiders insist that the drama left a lasting mark. Friends and family describe a relationship now defined by careful negotiation, subtle jabs, and moments of profound collaboration. Loyalty is constantly tested. Pride is carefully managed, and every new project carries the weight of years of history. For fans, the music continues to shine. But behind the scenes, emotional storm still simmers, reminding everyone that even the strongest partnerships have cracks that only time, communication, and shared passion can mend. The saga between Eminem and Dr. Dre took another unexpected turn. Insiders claim when rumors began swirling about a possible public confrontation. It wasn't in interviews, it wasn't on social media. It was whispered behind closed doors, passed between friends, family, and collaborators who were caught in the crossfire. Sources say that, for the first time, Dre allegedly questioned whether Eminem truly appreciated the sacrifices he had made to launch his career. And Eminem, in turn, reportedly wondered if Dre was holding him back creatively, intentionally or not. The tension, according to insiders, reached a boiling point during a private dinner arranged to celebrate a major award. What should have been a night of camaraderie, laughter, a reflection turned into a clash of pride and emotion. Witnesses say the conversation began politely enough. Dre praised Eminem for his continued success and reminded him of the journey they had shared. From underground Detroit battles to Grammy stages and record-breaking albums. But the mood shifted when Dre allegedly expressed frustration over Eminem's recent choices. "Marshall, I feel like you're forgetting the blueprint we built together," Dre reportedly said, his tone calm but edged with emotion. Eminem, feeling the weight of years of unspoken tension, responded sharply, "I haven't forgotten, Dre, but I have to make my own moves. I can't just stay in the shadow forever." The conversation escalated, voices rising, emotions running high, leaving the family and close friends at the table uneasy and anxious. According to sources, this dinner argument was only the tip of the iceberg. Friends and insiders claim that behind closed doors, numerous heated discussions followed over the next few months. Some involved production disagreements. Others revolved around collaborations with younger artists. And a few reportedly touched on personal matters that neither man expected to be questioned. Every meeting, every session, every text exchange became an emotional minefield, a source explained. You could feel the history, the pride, and the love, all mixed with frustration and fear of losing control. The insiders also suggest that both men were secretly testing each other, seeing how much tension they could tolerate before the bond snapped completely. Family members reportedly noticed the strain too. Sources claim that Eminem's close circle began subtly defending him against perceived slights, while Dre's relatives encouraged him to assert his authority and maintain the respect he had earned over decades. Friends described it as a delicate balancing act, trying to maintain loyalty to both men without exacerbating the tension. According to insiders, this period left everyone around them walking on eggshells, unsure what would trigger the next eruption. Some collaborators even said they considered stepping back, worried that getting involved could make them targets of either party's frustration. The drama reached another shocking twist during a studio session for an album that was never publicly announced. Witnesses say that Eminem and Dre were working late into the night when an argument broke out over a verse Eminem had written. Dre wanted a different flow, a different beat, something more classic. An insider revealed. Eminem refused, saying it didn't fit his vision. Voices rose, tempers flared, and the argument got personal. According to sources, Eminem accused Dre of trying to control him, while Dre reminded Eminem of all he had done to launch and protect his career. Friends and family described the atmosphere as electrifying and almost unbearable, with emotions running higher than anything they had witnessed before. Even social media started playing a role in the tension. Sources say that cryptic posts from both sides, interpreted by fans as veiled messages, created external pressure that amplified the conflict. Fans began speculating about a falling out. and trending hashtags fueled rumors of a public split. Friends and insiders report that both men privately felt frustrated with the attention, yet also recognized that their reputations were on the line. It was like being trapped in a fishbowl, a source said. Every move, every word was scrutinized, dissected, and judged. And neither of them wanted to appear weak. The pressure reportedly made every private argument even more intense, as both men struggled to manage emotions, pride, and public perception simultaneously. Insiders also claim that the conflict reached its peak during what some call the studio standoff. Dre allegedly locked himself in the control room for hours, refusing to hand over tracks or provide feedback until Eminem agreed to certain compromises. Eminem, however, reportedly stood firm, insisting on creative freedom. Friends and witnesses described the scene as tense, dramatic, and unprecedented. Some feared that the two would walk away from the project entirely, potentially ending one of hip-hop's most legendary partnerships. "You could cut the tension with a knife," a collaborator said. Everyone in the room knew this could either make history or break it forever. Amid the chaos, there were reports of brief moments of reconciliation. Sources claim that Dre occasionally offered quiet words of support, acknowledging Eminem's talent and growth, while Eminem would express gratitude for Dre's guidance and patience. Friends describe these moments as fleeting but powerful, a reminder that beneath the pride, anger, and frustration, a deep bond still existed. They could fight like cats and dogs, but at the end of the day, they respected each other too much to let it all crumble, a source explained. These small reconciliations, however, were fragile, often followed by renewed disagreements and heated debates. Family and friends also reportedly became pawns in the emotional chess game. Sources say that Eminem's inner circle would occasionally relay messages to Dre, intentionally or unintentionally influencing his decisions, while Dre's team would do the same. The result, insiders say, was confusion, mixed signals, and heightened tension. It wasn't just about music anymore, a source claimed. It became about loyalty, influence, and power dynamics. Everyone around them felt the pressure. Even those who had worked with them for years described this period as one of the most intense, dramatic moments of their careers, according to insiders. One of the most shocking developments occurred when Eminem allegedly threatened to take a break from collaborations entirely. Dre reportedly confronted him, reminding him of the legacy they had built together and the millions of fans counting on them. Eminem, however, wanted space to create independently. Friends and family were reportedly left stunned. It was like watching history being written and almost unmade at the same time, a source said. Emotions ran high, tears were shed, and the air was thick with pride, love, and frustration. The emotional stakes, according to those close to them, could not have been higher. Yet, despite the drama, music continued to emerge. Sources claim that the tension, while destructive at times, also fueled creativity. The late-night sessions, full of arguments, negotiations, and reconciliations, produced tracks that insiders describe as emotionally raw, historically significant, and unforgettable. Friends say that fans could never understand the emotional weight behind the beats and versus music born from conflict, pride, and unspoken words. Every bar, every hook, every flow carried more meaning than anyone realized, an insider said. It was history, tension, and artistry all at once. The insiders insist that this period fundamentally changed the dynamic between Eminem and Dre. Friends describe it as a love-hate, respect-filled, tension-heavy bond that defined both men's careers, even when arguments flared. Moments of collaboration reminded them and everyone around them why they were one of hip-hop's most iconic duos. But as dramatic as this period was, insiders say it also left scars. Sources claim that both men carry memories of the fights, arguments, and emotional confrontations. Family members reportedly noticed subtle changes in demeanor, while collaborators said that the studio environment never fully returned to the carefree days of early success. And while fans continued to cheer and celebrate the music, Only those inside the circle truly understood the emotional storm behind the hits. The struggles over respect, pride, and control, and the constant negotiation required to maintain the bond that had brought them both legendary success as the years passed. Insiders claim the tension between Eminem and Dr. Dre never fully disappeared. Instead, it transformed into a complex dance of respect, rivalry, and unspoken understanding. Friends and collaborators describe it as a relationship that could erupt at any moment, yet produce some of the most legendary music in hip-hop history. Sources reveal that both men learned to navigate the minefield of pride, loyalty, and creative differences, using their history as a guide to avoid total collapse. But the drama didn't just vanish, it lingered, influencing decisions, collaborations, and even the personal lives of those around them. One source claims that even at major public events, the tension was palpable. Award shows, red carpet appearances, and interviews often carried subtle signs, half smiles, averted eyes, and careful body language that fans might miss. But insiders could read immediately. Every move was calculated, a former collaborator said. They had to perform in public while managing all the emotions behind the scenes. It was exhausting, and it showed in small ways if you knew what to look for. Family members reportedly noticed the strain as well. It wasn't like they hated each other, a close friend said. They just had so much history and so many unspoken words that every interaction carried weight. The creative tension, sources say, continued to produce incredible music. Some of Eminem's most critically acclaimed tracks allegedly came from late-night sessions where arguments turned into inspiration. Dre, according to insiders, would push Eminem harder than anyone else could, challenging lyrics, beats, and flows in ways that forced him to elevate his artistry. Eminem, in turn, reportedly used these challenges as fuel, channeling frustration into some of the most iconic verses of his career. Friends describe these moments as chaotic, yet magical. A storm of emotions giving birth to art that fans would never fully understand, despite the high stakes. The emotional weight of the relationship reportedly took a toll. Sources say both men had private moments of doubt, questioning whether the partnership was worth the tension it caused. There were times when both thought it might be easier to walk away, an insider revealed. But at the end of the day, they knew the music, the legacy, and the respect they had for each other were too important to let pride win. Family members and friends said they often acted as mediators, helping to diffuse arguments before they became destructive. But even they couldn't control every flare dash up. Then came another shocking revelation. Insiders claim a longtime friend of both artists allegedly revealed that there were moments when personal issues intersected with professional conflicts, adding another layer of complexity. Reports suggest that Dre occasionally felt that Eminem wasn't giving enough credit for guidance and mentorship, while Eminem felt Dre didn't fully understand his personal growth and evolving identity as an artist. The push-on-pull of respect, pride, and emotion created moments of drama that insiders describe as almost theatrical. It was like watching a high-stakes soap opera unfold in real life, one source said. Except the soundtrack was incredible and the stakes were legendary. Friends say the drama occasionally spilled into the wider hip-hop community. Sources claim that other artists, collaborators, and producers became aware of the tension, sometimes unintentionally caught in the crossfire. People were walking on eggshells, a collaborator said. One wrong comment, one misstep, and you could get pulled into a private battle that no one else could really understand. Social media only intensified the pressure. Cryptic posts interpreted messages, and fan speculation reportedly made both men more aware of public perception, amplifying the drama even further. Fans may have loved the music, but insiders say the emotional cost behind it was enormous. Despite all of this, a partnership endured, evolving into something rare and unique. Sources claim that both Eminem and Dre reached a point where they understood the patterns of their relationship, the arguments, the reconciliations, and the tension that fueled creativity. They found a rhythm, a longtime collaborator said. a rhythm where they could push each other to greatness without letting pride destroy what they had built. Family and friends reportedly breathed a sigh of relief, knowing that while the emotional storm never fully subsided, it had become manageable, and the music continued to thrive. One of the most dramatic moments, insiders say, happened during a surprise studio reunion. Eminem and Dre, after weeks of private tension, reportedly came together for an impromptu session that turned into an emotional breakthrough. Witnesses claim that after hours of argument over a beat, Dre finally leaned back and said, "Marshall, I see you. I hear you. Let's make this work." Eminem, moved by the gesture, allegedly responded, "I'm trying. Dre, we've come too far to let it end over pride." Friends describe the scene as both tense and beautiful, a moment where personal emotions collided with professional genius, creating a historic musical outcome. Insiders also revealed that some of the greatest unreleased tracks were born from these turbulent moments. According to sources, songs that never made it to public ears were filled with raw emotion, subtle jabs, and moments of vulnerability that highlighted both the tension and the deep bond between the two legends. Friends and family who had heard snippets reportedly described them as electric, poetic, and the product of pure emotional energy. Fans, as always, remained unaware of the true stories behind the music, only enjoying the results without realizing the storm that brewed behind the scenes. The personal dynamics, sources claim, continued to influence business decisions. Dre and Eminem reportedly debated over labels, production deals, and collaborations, balancing pride and strategic thinking. Friends said that while disagreements still occurred, both men learned to navigate them with subtlety, channeling the energy into creativity rather than destruction. "It's a delicate dance," a collaborator explained. "You have two strong personalities with decades of shared history. One wrong move, and the tension explodes. But when it works, it's legendary." Finally, insiders suggest that both Eminem and Dre came to a mutual understanding about legacy. They reportedly realized that while disagreements were inevitable, their shared history and influence on hip-hop were bigger than any argument. Family members said that the two had moments of reflection, acknowledging the battles, the arguments, and the emotional toll, but also celebrating the unbreakable bond that had survived it all. Friends described it as a rare combination of rivalry, love, respect, and shared purpose that defined one of the greatest partnerships in music history. As the story concludes, insiders hint that the drama may never be fully over. Both men are fiercely proud, deeply emotional, and committed to their craft. Friends claim that while they have found ways to coexist and collaborate, family members reportedly say that these dynamics are what keep their collaboration vibrant, unpredictable, and legendary. It's a reminder that even the strongest bonds have moments of friction. And sometimes, those moments create the greatest art. So, what really happened between Eminem and Dr. Dre after all these years? Sources say it's a story of pride, conflict, reconciliation, and unparalleled creativity. It's a tale where emotions ran high, alliances were tested, and history was being written behind closed doors, bearing witness to a relationship that could ignite into conflict at any moment, yet produce some of the most iconic music of a generation. And as fans continue to celebrate the hits and the albums, the hidden story, the one filled with tension, unspoken words, and emotional complexity, remains a testament to the genius, passion, and humanity of both men. So what can we take away from the saga of Eminem and Dr. Dre? After decades of working together, creating some of the most iconic music in hip-hop history, it turns out their story is far more complicated than anyone imagined. Behind the hits, the awards, and the sold-out tours, emotions ran high, pride clashed, and relationships were tested in ways fans could never see. From heated studio arguments to cryptic messages, family divisions, and late-night confrontations, the bond between these two legends was constantly challenged. Yet, despite it all, they found a way to continue collaborating, proving that respect, loyalty, and shared passion can endure even the most intense conflicts. Every verse, every beat, Every collaboration carries layers of emotion that only those who were close to them could truly understand. And while fans enjoy the finished product, the hidden story, the drama behind the scenes is what adds depth and intensity to their legendary careers. This is a reminder that even icons have struggles, disagreements, and moments of doubt. But those challenges often fuel greatness in ways the world rarely sees. Now, we want to hear from you. What do you think really happened between Eminem and Dr. Dre? Were the rumors true, or is this just another exaggerated story? Drop your thoughts in the comments, let us know which side you believe, and share your favorite Dreamin' moments. Don't forget to like this video if you were shocked by the revelations. And subscribe to the channel so you never miss the latest drama and behind-the-scenes stories from the world of hip-hop. Hit that notification bell and join the conversation because with Eminem and Dre, the story is never really over. There's always more to uncover.